Mellow greetings, everybody. My name is James. I am from the internet, and today we are going to be talking about a tale of two tales of the same tale. Now, over this long year of continuous labor unrest, we have brought you story after story after story of people, workers, laborers coming together and demanding better. And because they showed solidarity amongst one another, because they withheld their labor, and because they made sure their demands were met before they went back to work, each and every one of those stories have ended in a labor win. People realizing their labor is worth more, demanding more for it, and getting it. Every single one except one. And that would be the Kellogg strike, which is now deep into its second month. And Kellogg's is doing everything it can to try to stave off the inevitable conclusion of them joining every other employer this year who eventually had to back down because capital without labor produces nothing. So today what I wanted to do is show you two tellings of the same tale to show you just how hard Kellogg's is going in on making this end. And then, when we get to the very end of this, I'm going to give you a little update on the current situation and show some solidarity with my fellow members of the working class. Buckle up, I got shit to do today, people, so we're gonna go fast. Here we go! Up first from the website Quartz, the following article. The Kellogg strike is testing the union's theory of a labor shortage. This coming to us from reporter Michelle Cheng. Let's see what Michelle has to say. In a tight U.S. labor market, unionized workers have been demanding more, but labor is perhaps starting to lose the upper hand. Whoa, wow, Michelle's coming right out of the gate swinging. Why don't you tell me how you really feel, Michelle? The most recent contract rejected by the union would have included a 3% wage hike for legacy employees and increases for new hires. The company proposed eliminating the cap on the share of lower-tier workers, but some union employees were worried that it would put downward pressure on veterans workers' wages if low-tier workers became a majority. Wow, it sounds like Michelle is really, really concerned about laborers making as little as possible. I'm starting to think that Michelle has an anti-worker bias. In Battle Creek, Michigan, where Kellogg's is headquartered, the labor situation has been challenging. The unemployment rate in the city was 6% in October, which is higher than the national average of 4.6%. The job opening rate, or the share of available jobs of all filled and unfilled positions in the non-durable goods industry, which includes Kellogg's, one of the largest employers in the city, was 8%, higher than the national average of 6.9%. Wow, that seemed like a lot of words to get very specific just to show how tight it is for labor. Meanwhile, the hourly earnings of all private sector workers in Battle Creek was $26.22 an hour in October, suggesting that Kellogg's workers are highly compensated compared to relative jobs in the area. That may boost the company's confidence that it will find workers to replace the ones striking and undermine the union's bargaining power. Quote, "There's a lot of potential labor supply for these jobs," says Donald Grimes, a regional economics specialist at University of Michigan. The idea that people are not going to take these replacement jobs is a bit inaccurate. You see what Michelle did here, right? She found a nominally qualified, quote, expert to give a quote to back up her claim that in this very narrow, specific area of labor in this one city in the United States of America, that somehow the labor numbers were skewed and ergo laborers don't have nearly the strength they thought they had. All of this is to make whatever hypothesis comes at the end of this article seem more plausible. There are reasons to think that Kellogg's union should have perhaps taken the last deal they were offered. The union may have had confidence its workers wouldn't want to cross the picket line, but it's not clear if that'll be the case since the region's unemployment rate is high and wages for Kellogg's workers are better than the average job in the area. Quote, I would just be a little bit careful if I was on the high end of the pay scale, if I was a union member, says Grimes. You could go overboard. And despite most Americans supporting unions, union enrollment has been on the decline for decades. Just 10.8% of U.S. employers are part of unions. Wow, she is really focusing hard on, poo-poo unions. And hey, if you're in a union, you better be careful because you might be overpaid. Cool story. So, are you ready to find out about Michelle and the fine people at Quartz? Because I'm going to tell you about them. Well, it turns out that Quartz is a business-focused, privately held English-language international news organization founded in New York City in 2012. It publishes in the U.S. and Japan and also puts out regional editions in such pro-labor places as the United Arab Emirates, Hong Kong, Africa, and India. And just so you know who their target demo is, if you look down the page just a little bit, turns out that Quartz targets high earnings readers, calling itself a, quote, digitally native news outlet for business people in the new global economy. Oh, so basically it's a news website for capitalists talking about what benefits the capitalist, investor, and financier class. Cool story. This is just your reminder to know who's writing the shit that you're reading when you read it. Take 30 seconds, you'd be surprised. And now I'm going to show you what the other side of the pillow looks like. Same story, being told by Labor Notes, which is a nonprofit organization staffed by union laborers and people who write about union issues. They've been around for like 40 years, and this is really all they do. And oddly enough, they do not publish regional editions of this in the United Arab Emirates or Africa or India or Hong Kong. So, you just get the one edition. But I don't know. I think you might end up liking it. In contract talks with its 1,400 workers this summer, Kellogg's proposed removing the union logo from its cereal boxes. It's an indication of the company's overall plan, said strikers on the Battle Creek, Michigan picket line this weekend. Quote, their long-term goal is to bust the union, said Michelle Fulcher, a warehouse crew leader at the company's flagship plant. Well, this is certainly a far different opening comparative to the last one we read by Michelle over at Quartz. Please tell me more, Labor Notes. I am enjoying this so far. Quote, going into negotiations, we had 4 things we were going to be hard-nosed on. Keep our pension, keep our retiree health care, keep our health benefits, and get rid of Tier 2. The first 3 goals apply to about 70% of the striking employees. What they're fighting for is the other 30% in that 4th note, the 2-tier system. Because under that system, a lot of the people are considered transitional employees and not, real full-time employees. And those people make roughly $13 an hour less. Fulcher says the transitional employees were lied to about their ability to move into the top tier. Under the previous contract, they were supposed to replace retiring workers 1-to-1, but that has not happened. Quote, it's all about the 30%. We just want a clear path for them set in stone. So once again, I reiterate to you that these workers could have easily taken that fucking deal. For 70% of them, it would have been far sweeter than what they're making right now with limited strike funds out on a picket line, walking for 2 months. But they said no, because they showed solidarity with the other 30%, the next wave of laborers coming up behind them. They are more concerned with the general overall well-being of all the workers rather than just themselves as individual workers. That is solidarity. And I think I may have mentioned this once or twice before, but solidarity combined with direct action will always get the goods. More than 2 months into the strike, workers have had an easy time finding temporary jobs. They have been overwhelmed with food donations from local unions and businesses, even free haircuts at the union hall. They watched a boxcar bringing raw materials to the plant derail, and union rail workers declining to fix it. Managers had to be dispatched to get it back on track. Why? Because once again, working class solidarity. But Kellogg's cut off their health insurance when the strike jumped off, meaning workers have big COBRA payments to keep it up. The union is currently providing only $105 per week in strike pay, but supporters have donated hundreds of thousands of dollars online to strike funds set up by the locals. Quote, "We're fighting the right fight. I don't know when else we will have the opportunity. Our time is now to fix this. If we don't, that shame is on us." Please note on the bottom of this article, there are some links where you can help to donate or contribute to the strike funds. Those links will be placed in the copy underneath this video in the description. Please, if you can, feel free to visit them after you finish watching this video. Now, after hearing, quote, both sides of this story, let's see who got it right. Well, it turns out that late last night, Kellogg's reached a tentative agreement with the striking workers union. You know, the same striking workers that Kellogg's announced rather vociferously and loudly everywhere they could that they would no longer negotiate with after their last offer was rejected. You know, they were going to replace them with all of the unemployed people that Michelle at Quartz led us to believe are just filling up Battle Creek, Michigan, clamoring for mid-range jobs and replacing union workers and being scabs in the literal fucking place where they live and are helping to donate to the striking workers. Wow, weird how that happened, huh? Wow, Michelle assured us that, you know, this wouldn't be a thing, but lo and behold, here we are. So what does all this mean to you, the average viewer at home, the fellow member of the working class? Well, it means that even though this is just 1,400 workers, which is a very, very small bucket of people comparative to the entire U.S. labor force, there are seemingly a lot of people with a lot of money throwing a lot of resources just to convince us all that these striking workers should just accept the deal that's on the table and get back to work. And frankly, even if I wasn't a union supporter before I heard all this, I know that my natural instinct, when I hear a bunch of rich people are spending a bunch of money to convince me to do something, is to literally do the exact opposite fucking thing. Now, before I go, 2 quick shout outs to the general public. Number 1, to all you fine folk over there at the anti-work subreddit. I don't care if you're meme makers, shit posters, story writers, link sharers, page lurkers, or just general upvote clickers. All y'all, you're literally doing God's work out there. When I heard that you sent in thousands of digital resumes to the Kellogg's website to jam up their HR department's ability to effectively review applicants and hire scabs, that shit made my day. So much love. Y'all are showing solidarity to fellow members of the working class. And so I appreciate you. And number 2, a quick shout out to Senator Bernard Sanders from the state of Vermont, who, by the time this video is published, is going to be out on the line in Battle Creek with those striking workers, showing solidarity. So for the last time, I'm going to say it, and y'all are going to like it. Solidarity plus direct action always gets the goods. So support your fellow members of the working class. Until next time, my name is James. I am from the internet, and I am out. Peace.